Okay, good morning once again, and welcome to your Lumuri TED Talk, 5th edition, with the talk title 2084, What Awaits Us. We will actually start this period of speeches with one speech prepared by one of your teachers, Ricardo Cividanes. So please, let's give a round of applause for Ricardo.
Thank you. Hello, guys. Good afternoon. Almost, right? The talk title today is 2084. It's in relation to a book that was released a few years ago, about 80 years ago in the 40s. It's a book that was called 1984. To its time, it was a revolutionary concept to talk about the future so far ahead. It was 40 years ahead. And so we call this 2084. We just changed the 19, right? Because we wanted you to do kind of the same thing, to look ahead, to foresee what is to come. Why? Well, there was a movie called Back to the Future. I saw that with one of my groups last year. And in the movie, there's one character who steals a record book that has the record of all the matches that happen in different sports. He used that to bet on which team will win, and he made a lot of money with that. And he was kind of able to conquer the world. So the idea is that if you are able to bet or to guess what the future holds for us, what awaits us, you have an advantage over other people. So we encourage you to talk about the future, to tap into your imagination, and foresee what is to come. Okay? So, without further ado, let's start. Let's see what you have for us. Nicole. Oh my God.
Okay, hello everyone. So we're going to start with B1 Plus, my group, and the first one will be Chantal Ginebra with the title 77 Years Old Me.
¿Y qué me valen a mí 5 puntos? ¿Cuándo yo puedo empezar a hablar? Yeah. Okay. I think I speak for everyone when I say this year's TED Talk has been a challenge for us, since it is not a topic we are usually used to deal with. And even more when we have to think, what will our life be like in the future? Can you imagine Eduardo selling empanadas on the corner of the school? Or finally, Aitor becoming the next president? Or even more so, Jose Chet dancing on the pole Saturday nights? Many of us ask ourselves that question. Will I have progress in life? Will I have my own family? Will I be alive at that time? There are questions that come back to us from which we have no answers. That just by continue living, the answers to our question will be resolved by themselves. The future. We all see it so far away. But in the blink of an eye, it is waiting for us just around the corner. I suppose that nobody is prepared for what awaits us in this life, because the only thing we have sure and clear is death. And yet we don't even know when, how, where we'll be. Today be 77 years old, an old lady, who by that time will have achieved all the goals that I set for myself. I will have my own company, my own family, my own house, and have achieved my dreams at that moment. My life will be a little much easier, not having the same worries as before, like having to keep an eye on everyone and having to solve everything alone. At that moment, I will be able to take care of my family and my grandchildren I will have at that moment. Enjoy my old age next to my family and friends and achieve everything I set out to do. Once Victor Hugo said, "The future belongs to those who believe in the beauty of their dreams." Listening to or reasoning about this quote, I was able to realize that the future is much more than we ever imagine or dream of. But the reality is that throughout this life, we will come across with many challenges, actions, disappointments, and unexpected things, which will be key for us to build and live our own future. Thank you.
Oh my gosh. Okay, very good. Now we have our first duet is Luis Guaymare and Miranda Kuhnhart with the title Technology in 2084. Oh, wow. Here, I'll give it to- give it- no, give it to him.
2084. For example, advancements in the creation of polymer artificial muscles, which have been in work since as early as 1990s, could provide us with super strong, Pearson said. Several U.S. researchers hailing from different universities made incredible strong artificial muscles that could allow robots or humans wearing exoskeletons to have superpowers, superhuman strength. And what do you think? You want to be one of those superheroes? Thank you.
Okay, very good job, Joshua. Now, coming up next, we have Manuel Montes de Oca with the title, The Houses of the Future, More Sustainable and Intelligent. There you go. You're going to do a good job, don't worry.
Okay. Could you imagine living in the past, like in the 80s? All these previous generations are unimaginable that television could connect to an internet network or that. Through cameras to install the house, they could see what's really happening in the real time in their homes. Everything has been possible thanks to technology and needs a good use. If this now, what do you imagine the people's houses will be like in the future? I imagine that will be functional and technological, with all types of machines and doing everything for me. From washing my ass to go to the garden, I'm literally everything, but also more sustainable. After COVID-19, I think that people start realizing having a place that produces their own electricity, food, and recycles their water. Now sustainable houses are energy and water efficient. Features include solar panels, the clump foam installations, and which is a waterproof material. It is the perfect protector for any type of structure. Low emissive windows. This type of glass is aimed energy losses through glassing, increasing insulation, and facilitating the solar contributions, and allowing the passage of solar energy, and reflecting the far infrared. And energy efficient heat pumps. It is an efficient system that can be used of heating or cooling or air conditioning. And even for a domestic hot water, of heating swimming pools efficiently. I know all these words are too technical, but basically means that the houses will be able to have electricity by its own, but not for a poor electricity. I mean a powerful one. As history has shown us with the development of technology, I think the houses will be completely independent and intelligent, being able to do whatever that we imagine. Today, it's only possible to do what your orders machines to do. But the research being carried out soon is to design the machines that will be able to make decisions anticipating the needs of the users. Okay. Make the improvements that are expected for the coming years and to make the distance cease to exist. And the devices has become more and more intelligent. Technology at home has to come to transform our lives. Thank you.
Okay, very good. Now we have Eduardo Oyer with the title Delivery Services in 2084.
Who could think that at some point in life, delivery drones could exist? Well, in this speech, we're going to talk about everything related to it. A delivery drone is an unmanned aerial vehicle used to transport packages, medical supplies, food, or other goods. Well, in order to not get too bored, I'm not going to give so much information on this subject.
since as the name itself says, it is a delivery drone. Drone delivery can carry that weight easily. An organization with multiple drone centers can significantly reduce the time and energy it takes to deliver a package. With next-generation delivery solutions, drones provide cost-effective ways for businesses to serve their customers from order to handoff. How realistic is a drone delivery? Most drones guided by GPS are capable of flying and hovering over an exact spot to an accuracy of about 1 meter. So hovering and lowering packages to the ground is possible. And now the most important question. Is drone delivery the future? I think, yeah, because this technology provides a faster way for people to get what they want when they need it, without making roads more congested than they already are. And it has found new momentum since the COVID-19 pandemic and lockdowns. This future project is one of the most important in the delivery industry, since it solves all the problems that people have of paying people to deliver a package. Thanks.
Okay. Very, very good. Now we have Leah Martinez with the title, A World Without Humans.
I'm a dreamer. I dream every day in different scenarios, and let me tell you that it has never been in a flying car or an extended reality suit. The world I imagine is one without humans. Also, when I think of the distant future, I think about how many people will live their early life, like my grandmother, my mom. It's a thought that scares me too much. Think about it. Not everything looks so bright for what we come. What if at some point we'll disappear from the earth? With what we're doing right now, it is to be expected that we humans disappear from the earth. We are involved in the damage to our planet, like environmental pollution, resource scarcity, global warming, and many more. We will undoubtedly be extinguished, or perhaps we can go and inhabit another planet. Ask yourself what could happen if humans disappear from the earth. On the other hand, there will be a rapid recovery of insects, since the pesticides will disappear. This, in turn, will favor the plants and birds, so there will be an increase in biodiversity in a global scale. In addition, some species such as lions, tigers, rhinos, and elephants were found all over the planet since humans hunt them and invade their habits. Without humans, the earth could recover from its diversity, although it will take millions of years to recover from past extinctions. At this moment, when I found myself reflecting on how we imagine that it will be for us, for humanity in the future, it is clear to me that what lies ahead for our future is not as good as we want to make it seem. This is a small reminder that nothing is forever, and there will not be so confident in tomorrow. Be kind and treat people with kindness. Thanks.
Okay, very good, Leah. Okay, for right now we have Paola Regalado with the title, Are the Movies Giving Us a Warning?
Are the movies giving us a warning? Many times we see science fiction movies that sometimes that could never happen, but this might not be the case. Maybe this could happen in not too distant future. For example, the movie WALL-E. That movie tells the story of a robot whose task is to clean the garbage that covered the earth after the planet was abandoned by humans. This film, which shows an apocalyptic scenario, opened the debate on the of waste, climate change, and the care of biodiversity. Throughout the animation, we see skyscrapers of garbage, pollution, and landscape. With global warming decreasing the planet's average temperature level caused by greenhouse gas emission into the atmosphere derived from human activity is causing variation in the climate that would not occur naturally. Global warming is happening faster than scientists expect. In fact, some impacts are already threatening the environment and endangering the survival of flora and fauna, including humans. In conclusion, we must take care of our environment so as not to end up with the environment that they show is in the Wall-E movie, an environment in which people only live in a chair without having do anything, and without living in their planet because they destroy it little by little as we are doing.
Okay, very good, Paula. Very good. And my last student is Hector Fernandez with the title Intravenous Information.
For people alive today, the year 2084 will be quiet, intriguing with science. We don't have idea what will occur, how far human mind will advance, or how our world will alter from what it is now. Maybe including changes to the educational system and educational institutions. It will be amazing to observe how future generations learn the things that we do now, and how cutting-edge teaching techniques will be applied to their education. In 2084, there won't be any schools, but there will be CERMs that can transmit knowledge to the brain in an instant and with clarity, because CERM will be accessible to people starting at age 7. Human existence will be significantly more productive as people can begin to be productive and efficient at a young age. The CERM will also react fast, providing the visuals and data required to carry out daily tasks in society. The P314, which contains all of the knowledge that is taught in primary and secondary schools, will be the most basic CERM that everyone will have injected. There will be various types of CERMs with different knowledge. More advanced CERMs for wealthy people, but even the poorest will have advanced logical and scientific thinking. Only knowledge of arithmetic, chemistry, science, history, and literature will be transmitted by this CERM. This CERM will not transmit any history, any form of morally upright, religiously sound, or philosophically sound thinking. This duty will fall to the child's parents because certain family customs and traditions are fundamentally important and shouldn't be overlooked because they set us apart from others. In conclusion, the CERM will revolutionize science and education. The future generation will be brighter and more productive than any other previous one. Without doubt, it will be fascinating and wonderful to watch the new generation doing research and development according to the future needs. They will be produce new inventions and gadgets that will help humanity. Thanks.
Thank you. So coming up next, we're going to have Gia Mota. Her talk title is I Will Have Never Imagined.
Saquen a Pedro de aquí, por favor. One, two, three. I would have never imagined. I'm Gia, I'm 78 years old, and I want to talk about what's going on in 2084 and how life took a turn in the wrong direction. I would have never imagined how much my life changed and how all my expectations of the future are just crushed. Growing up, I remember wanting to grow old and accomplish everything I've dreamt of doing. Well, it's 2084, and I realized time just flew by. With the blink of an eye, the Earth was ending. NASA trying to figure out what to do. Then I started thinking of my past. People always tell you how time flies in a blink of an eye. And although many people tell you that, you don't really listen to them until you actually realize it's too late. I remember being 10 wanting to be 13 because it's when you finally become a teenager. Then I remember being 15 wanting to be 18 because I wanted to be an adult. But what I never considered was in the long run, when you get old, all you want to do is to be young again. I always thought that I was going to live to be at least 80 years old and see my grandchildren grow. But unfortunately, the worst case scenario is happening. The world is coming to an end. And although the scientists saw it coming, nobody listened to them. Because of global warming, the planet heated up so much that people started to dying of dehydration. And all those people who thought scientists were just talking nonsense are actually pleading to God for mercy. Nobody knows what will happen next. NASA is trying to figure out if any other planet is habitable for human beings. But I fear that by the time NASA figures that out, it will be too late. And even if they do it, how in the world are they supposed to transfer over 8 billion people to another planet in the next 5 years? Because that's how much time Earth asks. If this was a letter to my younger self, I would have liked to tell her that she should live her life to the fullest. Because nobody lives forever. Friends come and go, as do family members. At the end, you only live once, so don't be afraid to take risks and don't care what other people think about you. Do what you know is right and never stop fighting for your dreams. Thank you. Hello.
You done?
1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2.
Good afternoon, guys. Well, for this TED Talk, I've brought a group of international celebrities and artists and renowned people, okay? So, first person coming up here is a NASA scientist. Her name is Maria Almanzar, and her TED Talk today will be Time Capsule. Let's go. You like that, huh? Oh my God. Damn, girl, you got all this shit there. No vas a pegar suya. Que no vas a pegar suya.
Pero qué vergüenza. Okay. Okay. Dear future me, I just graduated high school. I don't have any passions or hobbies. I truly feel lost. It seems as though my friend's life kept moving forward at a steady pace while I'm still caught in this never-ending cycle. I'm sorry. If I could turn the clock around, I would just stop myself from wishing to grow up. I didn't know what growing up implied. I have so many unanswered questions, like, will I be successful, or will I accomplish all of my goals? Who knows? These are the questions that keep me up at night. I wish I could go back in the time when I was 7 years old, so that all I worried about was if it was going to rain, so I could go swimming with my friends. I don't know what the future holds for me or what to anticipate, but all I want is some assurance that my life won't be a failure. I think I'm incapable of prospering in a professional setting, and I'm so afraid of what my next chapter will entail that when I think about my future, all I want is to be wealthy and unattached to any financial obligations. Dear past me, you were mistaken. You had such poor self-esteem, and you didn't believe you could make a life for yourself. You were under so much pressure to pick a career based on your expected income that you neglected to pick something you actually wanted to do. You took a year off to work, and throughout that time, you examined your genuine professional aspirations and objectives. You've enjoyed planning and creating since you were a little girl, so you made the decision to study interior design. Due to the flexibility of that position, you choose to volunteer in schools. And 10 years after starting volunteering, you started a career as a motivational speaker. You helped the teenagers overcome the fear of the future. The only correct response to that question I asked myself 70 years ago, what do you want it to be when you grow up? Is who the heck knows? Thank you.
Thank you. I have a special guest for you guys. Her name is Amina Tassim. Psicóloga, agarra ahí. Por aquí. Oh my God. There you go.
Sí, estoy muy nerviosa.
Oh, 2084. It's so far away. However, everyone doing this talk must be thinking the same thing as me. I'm going to be very old by then. Maybe thinking about my grandchildren, everything I could have archived in life, about the teachings, about the moments and all the memories that I wish I could be reliving at that very moment. And the harsh reality is that time flies and doesn't come back. Right now, I know that I'm just a 15-year-old girl who wants to finish school and graduate. But maybe when I do, I will realize that school isn't really that bad, and I will start missing it and wishing that I could drop out of college because it's not as fun. Nevertheless, I will eventually college. I will want to fulfill all my dreams with my loved ones by creating unforgettable moments and memories that I will cherish forever. I wish I could say for sure that in 2084 I will be a famous actress with her dream clothing store, who never miss any concert of her favorite artist and who give the perfect life to each of her children. But it is important to remember that we are still here in 2022, idealizing the future without even being able to live the present correctly. Instead of thinking about what my life will be like 62 years from now, I need to look myself today and realize how lucky I am. I have everything I need: people who love me, a place I call home, a food on the table, and a good student life. I have the privilege of saying that I can go out, dance, and love, and even to cry. Because in the end, it is about this simple thing that life is truly about. The only hope I have for the future is that everything that happened to me at some point in my life becomes a memory, either of shame, laughter, or nostalgia. But I always prefer to remember rather than idealize a life it's not mine yet. If you want me to tell you about myself in 2084, I will tell you. I will have the best clothing store that exists. I will be a professional actress who will win many awards and her family will be very proud. I will have many children, and each one of them will have everything that they need. But at the end, I will be happy because I didn't lack anything. Now, do you want to know the truth? Nobody knows what awaits us in the future. I don't know. Maybe I will have 4 children, or maybe I don't have any. I will be trying to be a well-known actress, and my dreams don't come true. Maybe the awards that I dream of having one day will become an illusion. But despite all the adversities, I can assure you this: I will never give up. I would rather find out and see how many turns my life takes before I have everything that I ever wanted. Thank you.
Thank you. Very emotional speech. Guys, we're going to take a quick break because we need 10th grade to go back to their class. 11th grade, stay here. So let's do that now. Okay, welcome guys. Now, I have a very special person coming up on stage. She's a renowned writer, director. She does it all. Let's give it up for my friend Farrah Cologne. Hold that.
Okay. Did you say my title?
I'm sorry. She's going to talk about when we were young.
Okay. 2084. We're now in the future. We achieved our goals, we graduated, we created our lives, and now we're retired, sitting in a chair and thinking when we were young. We had our whole life ahead of us. We were inspired, we had opinions, hopes for the future, visions, dreams, but most importantly, we had time to do everything and be with anyone that we wanted. We had healthy bodies to move and run and dance and laugh with the ones that we loved the most. And now we could do all those things, but it's not the same because when you're old, you'll always be thinking that this is your last dance, your last laugh, your last meal, and it's just not the same. Do you remember when we thought everything was possible? When we were delusional and we had no worries about the future because we had every chance to do anything that we wanted and worry about it later? Well, it's later now, and the only thing that's left is worry, worry, and worry. It's weird to say when we were young, because you're the same person with the same mindset, thoughts, and dreams. But now, when you're old, you regret everything that you didn't do. Ironic, because when we were young, we regretted almost every single thing that we did. But now you think about the times you didn't give that person a hug, a kiss, you didn't get to say goodbye, or even say hi for the first time. And now you're left with the regret and nothing else. So for the future generations, I hope you don't have to say when we were young. Because if you live your life the right way, you will always be young. Thank you.
Thank you, Farrah. That was very emotional. I almost cried. Coming up is a very special friend of mine, well-known YouTuber. His name is Frank Diaz, and he'll be talking about grand finale. He's not here. Frank, what's back, Frank? My bad. Make it. Yeah?
Diego.
Diego?
Yeah, he's here.
Okay. All right, well, Frank couldn't make it, people, so we have another renowned person. This guy is very techy. He's going to talk about, some stuff. AI. Let's give it up for Diego Inoa. All right. There you go.
Have you ever wondered what the world will be like in the future? Most of us wonder that, but it's always what the world will be like in 5, 10, even 20 years. But between now and 2024, it's 62 years away. So if we think about everything that humans have created over, over the last 60 years, the future could be even better. Just think about it. With technology advancing so fast, everything will be more efficient and easier in the future. In 2022, there is already very good artificial intelligence. In 60 years, I think that humans will no longer have to do anything, because this intelligence will do everything. For example, there are now cars that drive themselves automatically and know the exact addresses of places. In the future, people will no longer have to learn how to drive a car. Even companies are starting to become familiar, taking advantage of the benefits it offers. The bad thing is that these robots are already coming to revolutionize the world. In 2084, the question will always be whether it is better to have a human or an AI to do something. This is worrying, as these robots make decisions based on what is generally best and as they have no emotions, they can be somewhat selfish. Now, just think about all that. Everything we do with our effort, like getting a university degree or finishing a school, will be different in 60 years because maybe all the knowledge we acquired in these years will not be useful in 2084 because robots will always be more efficient. The way I see it, many people will now have vocation or an inspiration to want to achieve something. In 2084, when we think about 2022, we will think about how different life was because the point of the human is to surpass itself, to leave footprints in humanity, to be successful in life or in a job. I think this intelligence in the future will be both good and bad at the same time. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. That was very good. All right, guys, keeping up with the program. So, I have a special friend coming up. She's a doctor, gynecologist. I say personally, gynecologist. And she's going to talk about war on hormones. Her name is Daniela Matos. Let's give it up for the doctor.
You like that, huh?
No, that was weird.
Yeah.
That was really weird.
That's TED Talk.
Yeah. Anyways. Okay, so war of hormones. Remember this name. So I want you to think about the future. You probably are thinking about like family, maybe contamination, apocalypses, maybe some weird technologies like flying cars or whatever. But when we think about the future, we probably think of those things, yeah. But I'm not going to talk about those things. I'm going to talk about people, society, and hormones. Even if we're in another planet or whatever. But chronologically, the first thing that will happen by 2030, it's the Metaverse. Most of you know what it is and some don't. Well, I'm going to explain it to you right now. The Metaverse is what scientists describe as the new world. It's a collection of every virtual world built using the blockchain technology. It's literally like a mirror of the real world. We will need passports to travel because we can travel virtually, something like Google Maps, but you can actually be inside there. But it's really expensive, so it's not available for everybody, and you have to buy it with cryptocurrency. But that's another topic. Let's go way more deeper. Let's start with this Metaverse. So if this actually works, people are going to start distancing from themselves in their home. The food will be consumed. It's going to be delivered in our houses. We're going to start getting fat. Our IQ will be importantly affected. But what does that have to do with hormones? Well, by evidence, diverse investigations affirm that we need people to be around us. We need to keep relationships in order to survive and to live larger lives. On the other hand, loneliness, social isolation are related to health problems, depression, and increased risk of early death. And this is the hormone of oxytocin. This is like the hormone of happiness. And it plays a crucial role in the attachment behaviors of people, mammals. But the hormone that will affect us is the corticosteroid. Social isolation has a negative effect on the brain, and we all know that because of the quarantine, remember? This makes stress, the same as psychopaths, like a war of hormones. What drives to less healthy generations? So if that's by 2030, imagine the future in 2084. My theory is that future can affect in a negative way, making people act like psychopaths or not. I guess we'll never know until it's 2084. Thank you. What?
Oh, interesting, huh? Hormones. All right, so my next guest is Chief Executive Officer of Google, And she's going to actually talk about, is there actually a future? Give it up for Gabriela Ramirez. This is her first time doing it, so mind her, okay?
You like that, huh? CEO of Google.
Okay. Have you ever felt as though something was missing from your life? You have the feeling that you're waiting for something to happen all the time. You look forward to the future because you expect it to bring opportunities and to dismantle your unhappiness. We believe that the future will provide the solution to all of our problems. Why do we waste our time postponing our goals and dreams to a future that is not even promised? Maybe you always want to create your own business, but you're too afraid, so you put it off for the future. Unconsciously, we do this all the time. We defer all of our dreams and goals to a future that is not even guaranteed. So every opportunity that possesses even slight of a risk will be deferred to a distant future. The source of empowerment of this procrastination could be the fear of failure. If you never try, then you'll never fail. But the issue with managed failure is that it has the drawback of keeping stuck in a cycle of inaction, which also keeps you from succeeding. What if the future we really anticipate will never arrive? What if there isn't actually a future to expect? And we have wasted years of our life delaying our goals only to be delusioned by realization that we won't have another chance like one we have right now. Our future is under so many threats that we cannot assume it will exist. Though we erroneously believe that new opportunities will emerge in the distant future, but the only certainty in life is death, which is also the single reliable thing in our existence. So we should stop relying on the fiction that the future will be a second chance and start making the most of the opportunity we have right now. You could walk out of this auditorium right now and get hit by a bus, and all of your plans for the future will have gone to waste. We have the mistaken idea that the future holds the key to happiness, when the key to happiness doesn't exist. And to be truly happy, there will always be a need for more. As a result, practice being present. Take the job, pursue the business opportunity, and tell the guy you like him, because you always feel satisfied knowing that you did everything you could to pursue your happiness. Tomorrow is not promised, so why not take advantage of today?
All right. So, how many of you people ever drank Snapple? Snapple drink? Nobody? Snapple? The drink? Tasty Snapple? Okay, so I invited the person who actually invented Snapple. Let's give it up for the chemist, Atala de la Rosa. Like that. I didn't see it. Snapple's good, right?
Okay, so if I told you I'm being completely sincere, will it be the same as if I told you that I'm being completely sincere? I know I'm probably communicating the same message, but in two completely different ways. This message is just being delivered in a way where I'm reproducing the information and in a way where I'm actually meaning it. What I want to introduce with this is that right here we can see people using both of them quite often, and it's quite easy to use both of them without being caught that you're just reproducing information. It could be any information at any moment, and you just don't have to know what you're talking about. All thanks to our new technology advances, right? The light at the end of the tunnel. For the future, we have predicted that plenty of new advances are also underway. By 2084, probably, or these experiments that we have going on right now will be of common daily use. So Then, with that, how easy are we really making it for life to be a fraud? Like for people to be expressing things to us without really meaning it, while we think they do. So I'm not against technology or anything because it has made great advances for us, but it could actually be a menace for personal relationships. I can't even imagine with the already huge source of toxic information that we have, that people these days are using to speed painful information to others, how easier it will be in the future to use it for worse purposes. Knowing that we will be leaving this source of toxic information to a new generation which is also growing up influenced by horrible information in the social media, leaves me with a dark perception of what future interactions will be like. The conversations between people will turn like really repetitive, and people is every day in less responsibility of processing words or producing really new information every day. So that's why we will live our adulthood in a world with no clear truth in front of us. So it's actually not that far from starting. So we should use the social media that we have now to promote not only trends, but a sense of emotional responsibility in people while we can, for the sake of our interactions on the future.
Is Felix here?
Yeah.
Thank you, Doctor. I have another special guest. I have director, screenwriter, and we're talking about will we be here in 2084? Let's give it up for Felix Soto. You like that, huh? Right. Screenwriter.
In the last decade, we have made a really big jump in technology. We went from making the internet to going to the moon, many cell phones, GPS, and even self-driving cars. We're going so fast that it makes me ask myself, will we still be here in 2084? Some space companies and organizations, such as SpaceX, have plans for the future that, for example, SpaceX is developing a system that allows already rocket boosters re-entry Earth and land safely to reuse them in other spaceships. That way, they can make more launches faster without having to make another propeller. And it's also in the making of an engine so powerful that it will only take 1 second to reach the moon, 30 minutes to reach Mars, and only 4 hours to reach Neptune. Another company, NASA, is working on a program called Artemis that aims to land another man and the first woman on the moon by 2024 and establish sustainable space travel by 2028. And last but not least, Orbital Assembly, a company planning to make a resort in space, and they expect to open it in 2027. All of these plans for the future are not even 10 years apart from today. And it sounds like staying in space for holidays will be as normal as staying at a hotel here on Earth. Imagine what will we accomplish in 20, 30, or even 40 years from here. Maybe we will have already walked on another planet. Who knows? So what do you think? Will we still be here in 2084? Thank you.
I got it. I got it. There you go. All right. Thank you, Doctor. So, I'm down to my last guest, but I done saved the best for last. Okay? This special guest is going to talk about the despair of being forgotten. So, let's give it up for singer, songwriter, composer, MJ. Come on, baby. It's right here. God, oh my God. You like that one, huh?
Yeah. Really nervous. I don't talk
I'm nervous too.
Oh,
I hate talking in public.
Could you think of a life that was ever mine? A parent that made me waste my time. A soul that didn't belong to me 2,000 years and I'm still here. I feel as if people told you, remember you will leave this earth. I don't think that was proper at the time. Conjugated with the stars we are, we will leave but only in half. Our souls will be separated from our bodies. The future is near and you'll be here to watch it. Think of a life and how you wasted it, a waste, a trash, a lifetime of misery. What I mean is, I can live but only in your eyes. Your heart will push me apart and your memories will erase me from your mind. We felt like planets moving towards each other, like I could kiss his forehead with my stars and my sun, like he could touch me with his moon, like we were two galaxies meant to make a supernova, like we were an event that happened years ago but could be witnessed today, like the mists of the galaxy that are not yet discovered, like collided but yet separated, like full but empty, like alone but in company, like a new sort of life if you could call it like that. We were dark towards each other. We were meant to always be together. We were one. We're a melody. We're a melody. We're everything. We're rain. We pour. We soak the floor. We were we're heat. We burn with our ink, and we're cold. We freeze. We're everything. That's just it. We're everything. We're a new set of stars that's full of galaxies in an infinite universe that was made by our sole existence. I don't want my mom to forget me. I don't want my sister to forget me. I only want life to forget me. Please, please, I will leave, but don't forget my stone. My stone is there. I just beg of you, come to bless me.
My God, MJ, I'm hurt. That's awesome. Okay, guys, my show is over. Up next is Richard with his cast. Thank you for coming.
Hello guys. So now we're gonna have my students, the C1 group, right? We have Jose Calderon, Humanity's Possible Downfall. Over here. I did.
What?
What? Speak like a normal.
Hello, my name is Jose Calderon. I am 78 years old. I watched as our world fell because of our ignorance. Climate change eventually caught up to us, but we were too far gone. Our beloved country, Dominican Republic, fell victim to it and was eventually flooded. We were forced to evacuate. I was one of the lucky ones that escaped. Nobody helped us. Natural resources were eventually extremely hard to get, and wars obviously followed. I was forced to participate in the military for 2 years. They threatened my family. They threatened them, God damn it. Protests followed, but they were only met with violence. In the early in the early 2070s, nuclear threats were announced. The world fell into utter chaos. The streets weren't safe anymore. There was nowhere to hide. Only for the rich bastards and the important people. In 2084, it finally happened. The threats weren't threats anymore. The first nuke was launched into Europe. It destroyed 1/3 of it. But Europe countered and launched one to America. It destroyed almost half of it. This filled everyone with dread and fear. The world was finally coming to an end. Now, I'm gonna take a wild guess here and say that this does not seem like a good future or a viable one, does it? Since the early 1800s, humans have been the main drivers for global warming, mainly by burning fossil fuels, like coal, oil, and gas. Okay. This can generate heat-trapping gases that harm the atmosphere. Yeah, take that. That harm the atmosphere and can eventually lead to mass species extinction and the destruction of their habitats. Let's do something about climate change while we still can. Thank you. Did you like it? Were you satisfied? Are you gonna yell at me?
Thank you, Jose. Coming up next, we have Maria Caminero, Utopia.
Okay. Teacher, I'm gonna pee myself. Hi. Hello, can you hear me? Okay. Okay, not so long ago I started thinking about how easy us humans are to detect in some ways, and it actually made me feel really vulnerable. The reality is that we're just a dot, that we're just a rock that spins around the sun every 365 days. I wish to know who can see us now, but also who has seen us in the past and who will see us in the future. Although the idea of aliens ruling Earth would be ideal to me, Earth is 100 times more likely to be hit by an asteroid than to be invaded by aliens. And this may sound like a very slim chance, because, let's be honest, it is. Until you start until you start multiplying it by the millions of potentially habitable planets in the Milky Way. And it could be possible that as many as thousands of alien civilizations could share the galaxy with us. But one, we don't know whether all the civilizations in the galaxy are like us. And two, a civilization like us wouldn't pose a threat to another civilization. Also, aliens seem like a lot to worry about. Furthermore, it is highly unlikely, sadly, that a human will ever come into contact with and be invaded by them. And if we were to be invaded by aliens, I think it would be pretty cool. Think about it, new technologies, new cultures, and knowledge that weird but interesting species do exist out there. Or tyranny, aliens controlling the entire human species, them wiping us out to save Earth, and any possible scenario that includes them getting rid of us. The end. Thank you. Oh my God.
Thank you, Maria. Coming up next, we have Armando Diaz, Devices. Sorry, his title is School.
So today I wanted to talk about how I think schools will be in the future when we're all gone from the face of education, right? I wanted to show you what I think about when I think to myself, the future of schools. So not to complicate things, I'm going to start with something simple. We're going to do 3 things, right? Ready? Ready. How students will gather information in the future is something that has brought my curiosity to the peak. I believe that students in the future will have a device that allows them to copy the unnecessary stuff in their digital books or digital notebooks. And the more important stuff will be gathered in a spot where they can gather their information and pick what they want to study. Or maybe the teachers will make something about quizzes, exercises, or something more proactive. That was something simple, so now let's move on to the second thing, right? How students will be able to express themselves in the future. As of now, schools have been very monotonous and very slow when trying to interpret students as their own individuals. I think that in the future, they will be allowed to express themselves and be more free. Maybe teaching in various different ways, probably visually, with audios, or a more active way, if you will. This will help students learn different ways and learn better. This will also make students have more personality with each activity that goes on in the day, specific to their type of teaching. Since now new gen jobs are most likely not going to like dullness and file lines of the same work over and over again. They like uniqueness and personality. And my final part, which is what worries me the most, I feel like I needed to talk about this since it's something that worries me quite a bit since schools have not made this happen or are in the progress of this. The punishment system. I feel like most schools punish students in the wrong way and something that isn't very much calculated. Yeah, there are bad students, but that does not mean that it's because they have bad attitude. Maybe it's the way that they don't understand. Maybe they are slower than the other ones. Maybe they just can't learn that way. So that's why I talked about the second point of my TED Talk here, right? Maybe now, instead of punishing students for any reason, maybe they can make an emergency system, if you will. Something that will help students in trouble or who are in low grades. Maybe tutorings on the weekends, or perhaps some website that allows them to teach themselves what they think they don't learn. But then again, that is something that will come in the future, and something probably most of us won't be able to see since we're all going to be very long gone since the education age. But that's just the future. Good afternoon.
Thank you, Armando. Coming up next, we have Isabel Gonzalez. Is it worth it?
Hola, hola. Okay. If right now we cannot last a day without using technology, what will become of us in 2084? I know that talking about technology seems cliche and boring, but it really is something that is evolving into this big thing that in 2084 will become everything we know. Imagine technology getting so big, powerful, and effective, more than it is now, and getting to a point where it will be able to control everything and everyone. Imagine someone with no good intentions taking advantage of those resources and trying to control everything they can, creating a simulation. How, you may say? For example, antidepressants. They're supposed to make you feel better, right? But what if the new version of them doesn't go according to plan? They try to make them more effective with the help of new technology. But instead of helping our minds make us feel better, they compress our emotions and feelings, turning us all into the same person. This will turn uncontrollable and massive, creating that way a simulated life. A life where we all feel and act the same way, all thanks to the use of technology getting out of hand. Our whole life will be controlled, obligated to work and make money. Therefore, it would all benefit them, the government, or whoever they may be. Picture it. A monotonous and controlled life equals simplicity, easy money, no indifferences, no chaos, no social status, but most of all, no problems for them to solve. I can picture this. Everything we thought we knew, we care about, everything we once were, all lost in the name of power, in the name of having a simple and unproblematic life. But is it worth it? Thank you.
la mejor cara, la mejor todo.
Thank you, Samuel. Is it worth it? We don't know. Now we have Diego Martinez. Greed. Come forward.
Okay, so imagine the year is 2084 and you're applying for a new job. Maybe you have all of the world's qualifications and that you learn that the job pays actually pretty well. But after that, you learn that the people at the top of the company are making so much money instead of spreading it throughout the company, meaning that they are reaching incredible amounts of wealth, while those at the bottom of the company are extremely poor. This will be the sad reality that all of us are going to be living in, because everybody is only going to be thinking about themselves instead of the people around them. And this means that the more money you have, the easier it becomes to make money, meaning that everybody is going to need at least a revolutionary idea just to have a chance of reaching those that are in power. Because of this, I believe that the gap between the rich and the poor is going to be even bigger than it already is. And maybe you can think that this is the case in the present, which it is, but it's going to become even worse. The poor people have earned relatively the same amount of money the last 50 years, but those at the top have earned more than $75,000 more than they have 50 years ago. The poor have almost zero chance of making big amounts of money, while the rich have every chance in the world of building their empires. And this is the effect that greed has on people. The more money they see enter the bank account, the more they are going to want. But we are able to start diminishing the effects of greed that people will have in the future. And how do we do this? By starting to teach them important values like empathy and compassion, which we are severely lacking in this day and age. We can also teach them to start supporting those below them, either by raising salaries or donating to charity. And maybe this is going to hurt their pockets in the present, but in the future, it is going to give them a better reputation, meaning that they're going to have better opportunities, and the fact that it is a win-win situation for both the rich and the poor. But like I said before, we have to start acting now, because if we don't, those at the top are going to be so untouchable that we are never going to be able to reach them. And they're going to start to sacrifice those below them just to start growing their wallets. And that is because those that are supposed to protect us are going to abandon us. And that's because we didn't lead by example. Thank you.
Thank you, Diego. Now we have Gabriela Martinez. Robots Among Us. Oh, sorry. Is happiness worth it?
I'm gonna pass out. I'm sorry. Okay. Hi. When I reminisce and think about all the mental health movements and campaigns promoting people to put their mental stability first and then they would be happy, I never would have thought that the world would have ended like this. It's the year 2084 and people's happiness is now being used against them. Back in the 20s, technology allowed us to positively alter the moods of people. One of these techniques were called air ionizers. These were air conditioner-like machines that released negative ions into the air. But back then, the term ionizing was used very loosely. For example, these contraptions called salt lamps, which were tanks of Himalayan salt that had a light bulb in the middle. And these claimed to release negative ions to help purify and improve the air quality. But later, these were proven to not work. Air ionizers were very scarcely used, since not everyone knew or had access to one of them. But now, they're inside every building, on every street corner, and in all homes. Now, every workplace's productivity is at an all-time high. Depression is the lowest it's been in decades. You'd think people could finally be happy. But no, governments got a hold of a study that said that happiness can make people over 15% more productive. And going off on every government's past track record, I think you could guess what happened next. The American government ordered air ionizer manufacturers to massively produce these machines. But at first, they started by putting them in a few work buildings to test them out. Now, everywhere you look, you'll find one. People are now being made to be work, and we've come so far with technology. But it's really devastating seeing how so many aspects of life are not controlled by someone, including someone's happiness. So, I want to ask you this. Do you think happiness is really worth it?
Thank you, Aurora. Now we have Nicole Peralta. State of Grace.
Taylor Mackenzie, age 28, brunette, curly-haired, whose day-to-day life was to deal with her racist boss, always giving the best projects to his white employees and calling her derogatory names. Grace Millis, gray hair, advanced age, believes her life is boring and wishes she could enjoy it more before passing. James Michael, age 30, tall-head blonde with eyes of salt, wished he wouldn't be discriminated against for being who he was. He always believed his parents hated who he loved, and that they rather care more about the Bible than being good to their own child. Like them, there were so many people. Their lives were pretty miserable, and they needed an escape from reality. Flashing news. Desperate to create the perfect world in 2084 with the final purpose of people being happy and living their best life, the government Grace Project, which provides every person with a virtual reality headset. Once worn, it gets to your mind, and the person teleports to a customized utopia of their choice, their ideal universe. Everything there takes place in a sitcom where anything and everything has a happy ending. As people started putting them on, they could feel the fresh air, the cloudless sky, and the beautiful landscape they created for their entertainment. Many built a place where they feel like they're in a 90s show, where they live in a comedy, and no matter what you say or do, there's always a laugh behind and a smile on your face. Created a faultless scenario with their families where they spend their time enjoying the beauty and luxury of their community with their kids and drinking cocktails all day. Pinnacle of the SOG project, 101. It's becoming addictive. The individuals are starting to forget about the real world and detaching from their responsibilities, families, and friends, as they are spending weeks and even months here. Soon, life as we know it, it will be long gone and replaced with our own state of grace. We will never notice what we have prepared. Our plan is working. Thank you.
Hey guys, we're gonna have a 5 minutes break just so the 8th graders can come in. Okay, so 5 minutes break. Thank you, guys. So, now we're going to have Susan Pichardo, Polluted 2084.
One of the things that sets us apart from any other species is our ability to think ahead. Most of us tell ourselves things like, everyone's doing it anyway, or I'm only one person. What difference is me leaving a piece of trash on the floor gonna make? These are just excuses we tell ourselves to not feel bad for the damage that we are empirically causing our planet. Maybe if we did pick up that trash we saw on the street, our conditions would have been different than what they are now. But it's too late now. Since we decided to ignore or not do anything about the clear signs of climate change, we're now in the worst case scenario. Our planet is way past overpopulated, and this presents many problems with little to no resources to fix them. Billions of people experienced extremely high temperatures for weeks, and masks are now needed daily, not for disease prevention, but to protect our lungs from the toxic combination of fog, dust, and air pollutants that we call smog, which now invades our atmosphere. Too many people die every year from preventable diseases linked to contaminated drinking water. Factors such as global warming, marine pollution, and excessive resource extraction cause severe damage to our planet's oceans and coasts. As a result, the marine pollution continues and the destructive cycle of marine degradation continues. We now live in a damaged world where the chances of floodings, epidemics, and wars are higher than ever, and it could have all been prevented if we did little things such as not littering, changing our lifestyle of obsessive consumption, or even putting in practice the 3 R's: reduce, reuse, and recycle. We have to learn to look at the bigger picture, to be able to think and plan for the long term before causing irreversible damage to our surroundings. Most of us only think about our immediate needs and desires, and that has caused us to live in this polluted world. Thank you.
Thank you, Susan. Coming up next, we have Ana Suazo. Sorry. This is wrong here, sorry. Ana Patrano, Titan. Oh, okay, sorry, change the title. It's God Help the Outcast.
Whoa, 2084. It's really messy. I think it's even messier than the incident at the girls' bathroom. Yeah, it's a strange year. Plants don't grow how they used to. The sun is more imposing every day. And water is a resource reserved for the rich. The world lost its color. What was once green is now covered in rusty metal and glass that reflects the gray sky. 2084. On a planet that used to be perfect for living, it's now a place where we can barely breathe. It's not longer enough for us. Those we call great minds, despite not being smart enough to realize that we could have avoided this if we have changed our consumerism habits, they devised a great plan. Earth has no salvation. However, there are still more stars and planets and moons in our Milky Way, right? So I'm going to talk about Callisto, one of Jupiter's moons. It's very similar to Earth, although slightly smaller. They managed to create a space at Callisto completely habitable for human beings. It was incredible. However, there was a huge problem with this plan. How will they take the entire population of planet Earth to Callisto? Tell me, it's not realistic. And people managed to learn this very quickly, and they were not happy about it. Soon protests began, People were making riots in the streets. Some tried to do it in a pacific way, but most of them were really angry and were willing to do anything for justice. The world was divided in two groups. The rich ones, the ones who just watched everything from their expensive furnitures, while talking about how everyone is exaggerating, even though the world is ending. And then we have the protesters, the forgotten by society, the poor and downtrodden that were excluded. 2084. It's sad. And who knows, maybe humanity will have a better future at Callisto. But tell me, at what price?
Thank you, Ana. Coming up next, we have Armando Rosario, Leading Home.
The year is 2084. Everyone here is probably going to be dead by then, but nevertheless, it is free to venture into the possibilities of what could be. If we continue to destroy and poison our planet at the same pace we do today, there's probably not going to be much left of it by then. But as a species, we tend to overcome adversities. It is a fact that in 60 years, technology is going to be on a completely different level, and hopefully, the International Space Program will too. A colony on another planet is something that we have dreamt of for far too long. For a human landing on the red planet is something that may anticipate to happen within the next 30 to 50 years. I don't think it is something impossible, yet challenging. For humanity to achieve such accomplishments, many discoveries have to be made. But we have proven time after time we can make it. A spacecraft departs from Earth at a speed of 24,600 miles per hour. A trip to Mars, while the red planet is closer to the sun, will take approximately 7 months. 300 million miles will need to be traveled before landing on Mars, probably the most ambitious mission the human race has had to overcome. Leaving our home will not necessarily be any easier in the future. I imagine we will still be very emotionally attached to what we have called our home generation after generation. Elon Musk, the richest man of our time, also has an ambitious plan to make Mars suitable for human life. He wants to nuke it in one of the poles so the planet heats up and the ice melts and maybe, and just maybe, it becomes suitable for human life. Maybe we'll die in the process and become saints in history. Maybe this all ends before we set out to conquer Mars. Maybe we establish ourselves on the moon first. But something that is certain is that we will die trying. This is something I would want to see in 2084. But nevertheless, no one knows what the future awaits us. Thank you.
Armando. Now we're going to have Abril Varinas. Varinas, sorry. Abolishment.
I'm not gonna notice right here. My phone froze.
Okay, sorry, we're going to present some technical issues here, so we're going to have the next coming. The next one is a duo. It's with Ana Suazo and Lia Roa. Out of Touch.
Thank you.
Hey Leah, how you been? Hi, Anna. Actually, a little bit nostalgic. I've been thinking a lot lately about the good old days. Do you remember when we used to go to school together? It's incredible how things have changed in the past couple of years. Wow, those good old days right back in 2022, when we used to live wild and free, going through life like there was no tomorrow. When we used to hang out in the weekends, beach on Saturdays, wild and immature, but living the moment and nothing else. Wow, I know, right? In the good old days, people used to talk to each other. Families would gather around the table and talk about their day. Children would play in their backyards. But now, that's only a memory that lives in our generation's mind of 80-year-olds. Nowadays, technology is so incorporated in our daily lives that socializing has become nothing but an urban legend.
You know what? I've seen generations come and go, but there is something characteristic in each one of them. And it's the development of technology taking place over the essence of every generation. It's incredible.
Yes, this loss of essential human activity has atrophied the brain to the point where we depend on a small brain implant to have a basic understanding of our surroundings. The conspiracy theories that robots would take over has come true, but now because of our own will.
And not only that, just look at how they replaced the meeting face-to-face with holograms, or how they turn family reunions in insignificant silent meetings where everyone is almost eating the screen of their phones.
Do you remember when talking face-to-face was gratifying? I just feel like my time has passed. Like all the basic activities that we used to do when we were teenagers are way different than of today's teenagers. They do everything digitally, and it's truly scaring. I just feel like technology has taken over our lives, especially at home.
I know, right? They find themselves trapped in a digital cave. They've let technology govern their lives just like a modern type of slavery.
Do you remember the times when we were little and we used to hang out with our friends and family? This has become nothing but a memory.
Virtual marriages, virtual birthday celebrations, virtual relationships. I can't believe this. It seems like everybody's scared of speaking even with their friends, just because they got so used to text each other less than physically interacting. Have you seen how they stutter when they speak face to face?
I'm frustrated. I feel like a hologram, as if my presence is here, but it's not truly acknowledged anymore. The only way that my family tries to communicate with me is through this device. I don't even remember the last time I saw my own children. It's truly scary how this device has modified our lives. But I still want to go outside. I still want to live. But this generation will never experience this type of things. I just wished they could see how beautiful a nice and simple conversation was.
Now that I pour my chest out, I want to encourage you to leave. Leave. Don't let technology take you a part of the essential things in life. Use and enjoy every second with your family and friends, because we never know the exact moment when they'll not be with us anymore. Leave and enjoy, because time goes by and it has no mercy. Leave so when you'd be my age, you collect every memory in your mind just like an album of special and meaningful occasions that you take with you till the last day. And remember, time is free, but it's priceless. You can't own it, but you can use it. You can keep it, but you can spend it. And once you've lost it, you can never get it back.
So when you start forgetting about the little things in life, such as stargazing, watching the sunset at noon with your favorite person, remember me. Remember how we took everything for granted. And sadly, it will only live in my generation's mind. That will lastly be gone. It's not a probability, it's not a possibility, it's a fact that this generation has ruined what has kept us fulfilled. I wish that when I'm gone, you remember the glances of my voice. I want you to understand the values of human interaction and nature. I just want the world to really be alive again. Thank you.
Thank you. Anna and Leah, thank you. Okay, so now, last but not least, we have Abril Barinas. Barinas. Abolishment.
Six years ago, I was in my high school year attending English class. The teacher was talking to us about a riot that had occurred in South Sudan where a Christian church was burned down by animists, and the possibility of the abolishment of religious practices in the country as a whole. I myself and almost everyone around the globe didn't take this as a warning, maybe because it wasn't a first world country or an influential country at that, or maybe that's just human nature, to be ignorant. All I knew at the time is that I wasn't the least bit interested. All I cared about was boys and what dress I was going to wear on Friday. These days, when I have nothing to do, I play a little game. It consists of me screaming at my younger self, telling her to go live her few remaining hours as she pleased, because the world as she knew it would never be the same. Months passed, and I vividly remember seeing church riots all over the news. But then again, my stupid self and almost everyone thought that this was an issue that would get resolved in less than a year. The first hit of reality came when Saudi Arabia had a coup and every mosque was burned and the practice of any religion was prohibited. Then everybody knew the bitter truth. Religion, that had become a long-gone word. There had been endless conflicts between different religions that the government decided best to ban. We realized that the world would never be the same. The last strike happened when Vatican City declared the law untrue and illegitimate. Not 2 hours had gone by and Vatican City was no more than dust. It was now officially illegal to believe in anything not proven, and faith had become a long-gone belief dribbled in the back of our minds. We never knew what happened to people who rebelled. All we knew is that we never saw them again. The world had become an empty and cold place without joy. There was no conflict, no fighting, no arguments, no disagreements, just nothing. It's like we had all become these empty robots. The thing is that it all started with religion, but then it got worse. When the government saw there were no rebellions or riots, they knew we surrendered. And instead of fighting, we were adapting to their commands and what had now become our reality. Give or take, religion is a choice. Taking that away from a person is taking part of their freedom. Once you have that person's freedom, you no longer have a person, but a tool to pass in an endless chain bent to your will. Now, all we have is the memory of joy and freedom and the small hope that the world would be restored to how we knew it to be in our youth. Yeah. Oh.
Okay, 11th grade students, we came up to the end of our TED Talk. I just want to mention that you did a great job. You went over by talking about the environment. Some of you talked about animals. Some of you talked about how life was different, how it should be now. Some of you even reached out, being an elderly. So I just want to say that, again, this was a success. Thank you so much. I think 2084, there's a long way to go. We have to imagine a lot. We don't even know what's going to happen. But I can say that we have an idea of what's going on according to what you mentioned today. So once again, thank you so much. And bye-bye. First. Eighth graders, stay over here. Do not leave. 8th graders, stay over here. 11th graders, you can leave.